Millimeter, it be accurately measured.
It's measured flat, direction up and down. Flat level we at, flight over ground. Descending from that breeze, heading in degrees. Horizontal, flat, EST. Now you know it's flat below ground. Measured flat. You hearing me now?
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a Coffee, Patreon, Crypto and Thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Sven P, Curved Fart, Pablo de la Cruz, Level Playing Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, Survive the Spin, Thomas van der Zander, Measured Flat, Tiers Morgan, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, J Mel's 24, Unimento, Iron 26, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Bob Barker, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon are below this video. But with that, I will hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show. Hello.
Have you changed
Of what?
G Plus? It just said we have to wait till you're allowed into the room.
No, I just happened to have not pressed that button yet. If Next Man, which was Surf Daddy, joins, it will just let him in, and it has. I just happened to have not pressed it by the time you came.
You good?
All right. How are you?
Pretty good. Give myself the day off.
Okay. Sweet.
I was reflecting on yesterday. There's just no, it's like not even fun anymore. No way for them to go. No matter what they do, they're always going to need to come from a flat plane. It's just dead. One deck sent me a message that he went to Worldwide Debate, and Buck was telling him he's working from an atlas map that has no elevation.
Very good. That's really interesting.
Let's hope the freaking ground control don't use that.
Nobody in any of the servers. They're all empty.
Yeah, I think you cleaned house, Nathan.
There's a couple of people in Earth Awakenings.
There's about 20 in worldwide.
I just went in there and there was nobody in there. There's a couple of people in Earth Awakenings, but no one's talking. Where did you say Worldwide Debates?
Yeah, the wide stream of worldwide.
Ah, yes. So there is. Okay, I'll go in there.
People jumping to God, isn't it? Where have they got? What have they evaluated empirically?
Lots of presuppositions, like you. That's how we did it.
Okay, yeah, great. Now, what the point is? We've got the conversation. We've got to the point of the conversation.
Easy to study.
Well, then
you just read a book.
Okay, so
yeah, you're too quick to try and attack someone's belief, which is a normal presupposition, but you won't dare speak
Let me know when you're done, Norm. Let me know when you're done.
Earth, which you haven't studied.
Okay,
well, I mean, that's what it comes down to.
The question is, another one.
You want somebody to play apologetics
on the history of Earth. Definitely not.
No, you can't do apologetics for your worldview, but you want somebody to play apologetics for their worldview.
Maybe I'll get a chance.
And then when you're pressed, you fall apart and just fucking waffle out random words.
Your turn, Dawn. I want to speak. It's your turn, Dawn.
I'm just telling you off.
Oh, now it's your go, Rigger. Make sure I can't talk. Off you go, Rigger.
Well, see something that's That's worse.
Nathan Oakley here now.
We got to the point when we surmised that there are some foundational presuppositions based in science. Okay, right? Yeah. Now, okay, you say they're there. All right. Okay. So, how flimsy are they compared to, say, I don't know, the presupposition that God exists, that the Bible's true? How strong or robust or flimsy are they?
No, just how flimsy they are. Period. Focus on that.
You're not going to do it.
You're comparing them. You're saying, "Oh, I got a lesser evil."
Have they kicked me out?
I moved you here. Do you want to be down there? Are you doing your show, or you want to be down there with those guys?
I mean, I'm happy being there. I mean, I'm a bit tired. But I don't mind. Put me wherever
That's
you
why I
want.
moved you here, because here it's pretty much you run your show, right?
Okay. What did you say, Neil? You were reflecting on yesterday. We've already been moved.
Oh, it was good. The biggest takeaway was they fucked themselves, because you asked one question, McToon said no, Buck said yes. It's like they can't even give the same answer, and they're both Globers, so it's like that was pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Good seeing you at Gem Pandas, man. That was very good. There's a lot of people in there.
I mean, I'll just go wherever there's people chatting. You know what I mean? It's like shooting fish in a barrel at the moment.
Never did find out what a global elevation angle was.
There's no such beast.
Global mean sea level. That's another one.
Geometric proof. I've got a geometric proof right there. Now you got to prove that the geometric proof isn't the geometric proof that I say it is.
I said I got my angles from a globe. They were globe measurements. Now, you disprove me geometrically, Mr. Oakley.
What was the question again exactly? I'm trying to remember. McToon said no, and Buck said yes.
It's about elevation angles coming from the surface. So because they're required to be taken from a flat plane, Toon needed to obfuscate his own flat plane measurements he's made in Antarctica by saying they've got nothing to do with the ground. Now, at some point, they've got to try and infer that the question that's been begged of sphericity below a tangent plane has something to do with the measurements they're taking. They'll tie them together at some point. Buck's two or three steps ahead of Toon's lie, while he's decrying its flat Earth prerequisite by nature, because he wants to deny its flat Earth measurement nature until he needs to use it to suggest later that it's proving a ball. But Buck's, what's the word? Prematurely going off, let's just say. Well, he wants to get straight to this does tie it to a globe Earth that we're assuming dangles below a plane, while Toon saying it's got nothing to do with the ground that's actually being measured flat. So the incongruence is Toon needing to lie about the measurement being directly tied to Earth because it's elevation. Because if you can use the measurement without it being acknowledged that it's a flat Earth prerequisite, it can then be whistled past, like has been done for 10 years. Me, I'm going, well, it's elevation. It means from the surface, and it's an angle, which is immediately the end of the discussion. So if he just lies, it's got nothing to do with the surface. The discussion can continue for him to later use that measurement to suggest sphericity. The same sphericity Buck wants to connect it to when he sees a ball. Goes, I can attach this at a point. Completely making Toon a demonstrable liar, which he is. I mean, I was thinking about it afterwards. I'm like, should I trim out these clips? But I'm like, what changes? Duffy came in, claimed he'd got receipts and was demonstrated to be a liar. You're like, at the off, you think that sounds juicy, but then you go, we already knew Duffy was a complete liar. It's not like it's a big news event. Same goes for McToon to a certain degree. You know, he'll just lie, obfuscate, and demonstrate his cowardice in everything he does. And he did exactly that. So you're like, well, it's not really a shock. There's no new news here. What was the outcome of the event? Well, Earth was measured flat quite a few times. Lots of people obfuscated their flat Earth prerequisites. Few people projected them onto me. I'm sure we'll do a roll call in a couple of minutes for my groupie anti-flurf trolls that'll be here. You know, check if Rob Noxious and Bev and Ed Bear are here. Maybe they've got a little skirts on so they can do a little dance for me, like cheerleaders.
You had them in elevation. Once you can't elevation from what?
Exactly, elevation from surface level. So we only got an elevation.
Elevation. Hello. Elevation's nothing to do with curvature.
Okay, yeah, Dawn. We know that.
Elevation changes. It's kind of to do with curvature if you're measuring hills.
No, nothing to do with it. Sorry.
You're saying we don't measure hills?
You can measure hills, but it's nothing to do with earth curving.
Curves, that's hills. Hills curve.
Nothing to do with the water curving on a flat or globe earth.
You've never driven over a curve that we've surveyed?
It's nothing to do with it, I'm afraid.
Specifically to do with it. It's the measurement of its elevation with respect to a plane that we measure.
No, the way you check if earth's curving is over water on either model.
No, we survey Earth for the topographical changes of the Earth. The water we measure for mean sea level. That's the datum that we use for all reference to altitude changes.
How are you going to tell if it's flat or globe then?
Well, they measure it. I just told you like 10 seconds ago. Why male models?
So you accept that some people measure the Earth and then decide what it is?
No, they measure it for mean sea level.
Some people measure Earth and say it's curved, right?
No, they measure mean. Are you deaf?
No, what do you mean
mean
no?
Sea level.
Because they do.
If it's curving, they measure the deviation in the vertical, that's curve, from the horizontal linear flat Earth measured distance. Dawn.
So they do measure Earth as a curve, you're saying? Some people.
No, they measure hills deviating from the flat Earth linear miles.
What do you mean no? Of course they do. Otherwise, globers wouldn't exist.
You're right. I see what you're saying. I mean, I could take you through this if you like. They derive Earth's sphericity from flat Earth measurements to create a model called the globe, if that's what you mean. Is that what you mean?
Do they measure Earth and then say to themselves, we think it's curved?
Yes, they measure Earth flat and then derive curvature from that flatness that they call the globe.
Thank you, I rest my case, Nathan.
So on screen now, you've got the flat Earth measurement of a plane called the equatorial and extended celestial planes with a glorified protractor that has a globe painted on it. What's going on? Why are you chat skanking me?
I'm not looking at your screen.
Oh, do you want to show pain for a bit?
So you admit that some people measure Earth and then say to themselves, this is a globe. You agree with me?
I heard you the first time you asked, and then I was in the middle of answering you. Did you want to repeat the same question a third time through the top of my answer as I continue to answer you? Yes, you measure Earth flat to derive...
Yes.
You derive sphericity from measurements of Earth's surface. That surface level measurement, to give you a globe to believe in, is flat. That's the measurement of Earth's surface.
Can I ask it in a different way then? Do you agree with me that some people measure lakes, oceans, water, and find out that Earth's curving for themselves, as in they think it's curving after measuring, and they say, Earth is curved?
Don't laugh at him. I think he's sincere. Don't laugh at him. Carry on, Don. Sorry.
You agree some people measure water and lakes and then say to themselves, Earth is curved?
Yes. So what you can do is you can measure the linear distance of the lake and then run the calculations and altitude from surface level through a calculation.
I don't want to know the science because I already know that. I'm just saying I want you to agree that they do that. So in this way, people measure Earth as a globe sometimes. No. Correct?
No, they don't.
You just said yes, though. Remember? Twice.
I said, can you create a curve with flat Earth measurements? Yes.
No, I said, do they say to themselves, Earth is curved after measuring
they've measured it? Yeah, they've measured it flat to say Earth's a curve. Yes.
And the same with over the water?
If you want pain relief,
they say Earth's curved.
I heard your question. Do you want me to explain it again,
is the
or do you want to carry on
yes?
asking the same question that I've heard you say twice? I did hear your question.
Is the answer yes? People
you just want
measure
me to give you a straight yes or no answer to make you feel better. Okay, Dawn. Yes. Go in peace.
Okay, thank you, Nathan, for speaking to me. I rest my case.
Yeah, excellent. I'm glad you've rested your case. Unfortunately, though, for anybody else who's intrigued to listen, the derivation of a sphere belief to say, well, now Earth's a ball, requires the surface level of Earth be measured, flat, to derive values for Earth as a globe. For example, but not limited to, the derivation of a radial value for a spherical Earth is derived from measuring elevation angles and their minimums for a system called latitude and an equatorial plane. Now, the equatorial plane is where you transfer measurements of Earth's surface for the angles to the lights in the sky within a ball on a plane. But to achieve that, you need to measure Earth flat to achieve it. You derive a radial value. So on screen for my audience is the equatorial plane with a edge labelled horizon, the azimuthal directionality afforded you from flat plane, and right ascension declination with you stood effectively inside a ball, so that you can describe the positional information of the stars from within a ball that can be set in motion around the sun. That's heliocentrism. But to create heliocentrism, first you measure Earth flat and then derive sphericity from the flat Earth measurements. So yes, you can measure Earth and say, after I've measured it, I can calculate into existence a ball to believe in. And that is how the ball comes to fruition, through measuring Earth flat and creating a ball with those measurements.
That's what I was going to say. You're saying measured. No, it's calculated what you got there in the end.
When you measure something, when you talk about measuring the Earth flat, that would require a tool, would it not, to do that?
Sorry, what did you say? I was tuned melon. My bad.
I say, when you talk about measuring the Earth flat measurements, that would require a tool, would it not?
I think you're a tool.
Yeah.
No, a tool in order to establish a horizontal reference. You'd need a tool, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and you'd need a horizontal reference. The more important bit of this is that we need a horizontal reference.
The tool will establish that, won't it?
Yeah, we're measuring Earth flat as a horizontal reference. That's correct. You're catching on quickly. I like it.
What tool will it be using then?
To measure Earth as a horizontal reference. Well, Earth's a horizontal reference, so at the point that we're just establishing how we'll establish this system
it's
as a
not.
horizontal...
Otherwise, you wouldn't need a tool, would you?
You just said it was.
Yeah, but you said it was already horizontal, in which case you don't need a tool to measure it.
Yeah, it's measured as a horizontal plane.
What tool would you use it for?
What tool would you use to measure it as a horizontal plane? What tool would you use?
Spanner.
Screwdriver.
Hammer.
What?
Hammer.
No, you're just being stupid. Yeah, come on.
Not really. We've got a horizontal plane.
What tool would you use?
We've got a horizontal
Stupid
plane.
questions.
You don't have a horizontal plane. You don't have a horizontal plane without a tool to establish it. So what is the tool you're suggesting?
I don't know. I mean, I referenced the equatorial plane. It's not my measurement, so you'd have to ask somebody who's using the equatorial plane. Any ballers who measure Earth flat for the equatorial plane want to tell Elderbev what tool you use to measure the equatorial plane with. I mean, maybe you could ask Toon.
You have less evidence than I thought you had.
Not my evidence.
You don't even have a tool now for your claim.
Yeah, you win. You win. No tool. You win. Well done.
You win.
What tool is? I mean, it's a simple question. What tool would you use to establish a horizontal reference?
You win.
As the Earth isn't horizontal.
That's right, you win.
Yeah. So what tool would that be?
I said you win. I don't have a tool, so you win. Well done. Good win.
I'm not looking for a win. I'm looking for an answer. I'm looking for an answer, not a win.
Yeah,
you gave the answer.
Escape from having no answer.
They're the hammer.
What answer is it, Neil? You tell me.
Hammer.
What tool would you use, Neil? You don't use a hammer, don't be silly. You're a craftsman, you're a worker, Neil. What tool do you use?
So good
Fuck do you know what I am?
Well, you tell everybody. I'm not a stalker. You tell everybody about you.
You're not a stalker, eh?
You've been to prison.
I think it speaks for itself what you are, Annabelle.
You told everybody.
Hello?
You told everybody everything I said.
Hello?
Everything I know about you came from your mouth.
Hello?
So it's not me.
Nathan?
I didn't make it up.
Who's that?
And what tool do you use in your trade, Neil, to establish a horizontal reference?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. What tool do you use to establish a horizontal reference in your world?
What tool did you use to change your voice?
That's a better question. I like that one.
I don't need to change my voice with a tool. I can do that. I can do it fucking very easily, Nathan. You know, if you want to come out here and fight you, They fucking beat you down.
Your Irish is brilliant.
Come on, my side now.
That was good.
Fight. We'll get it on, man to man, with a fair play, man. We'll fucking sort it out right now. You want to do it?
Don't give him any props or anything, Nathan.
You know, I don't need
never live it down.
Talent.
I don't need a voice changer, Nathan. Yes. I mean, I've got an IMDb reference, so yeah, which is more than you've got.
You've got an
anyway,
IMDb
what
reference.
Is this? What is the tool we would use to establish horizontal?
What did he say he got?
IMDb, he said. What's your IMDb reference?
None of your business.
Oh.
What is the tool? What's the tool that you use to establish horizontal reference?
Quote, Edabet, I've got an IMDb reference. What's that?
Yeah. What tool do you use, I said?
This seems to have made you a bit stuttery. What's wrong with the IMDb reference? Does it describe you as a bad person?
There's nothing wrong with it.
Does it describe you as a criminal?
It doesn't describe me as a bad person.
Are you a famous criminal?
So come on.
Well, are you a famous criminal?
What tool will you use to establish horizontal reference?
Well, we're talking about
Does any of your panel have an answer?
Do you have an IMDb reference? Did you say you got an IMDb reference? What's that?
Compass would work.
Do you have a horizontal reference?
If it was horizontal, your compass would work, wouldn't it?
No.
Oh, sorry. Got to put it vertical.
How do you know the compass is horizontal?
Because I've used one.
Well, because it
How do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know?
It wouldn't work if it wasn't horizontal.
That compass?
Let's see if I put my compass straight up, it doesn't point the right way.
Okay. You don't know anything.
He talked right through you, Craig.
With your compass. How do you find north with your compass? Click OK.
You put it horizontal.
And where's north?
The direction that the little arrow points to. Have you never used a compass?
I've never used one, clearly.
Yeah, the point that you make your flat Earth around. Where's that?
That's right. It's a flat Earth
Actual
tool.
north.
That's correct.
Not the direction.
Second time.
The place where north is.
He's impressive today.
Yeah, he's done really well. So we've got a tool for measuring horizontal. I mean, the tool not existing in my person means that we don't have a horizontal. Yeah, we definitely do. We'd measure it with that tool. I don't know what tool, maybe a hammer.
Have a tool then. You just look at it and you say it's horizontal. Is that what you do?
I didn't suggest it was a tool. I wasn't saying it was the tool I would use. It was a suggestion of a tool. But yeah, definitely works horizontally.
Okay. So what any other tools you've got? Or you just stick them in the compass?
Yeah, it's flat Earth.
Two heights, but then if you were doing two heights, you'd need a horizontal level plane to work from to make sure those heights were the same, wouldn't you?
So do you think the compass knows what surface it's on when you're holding it in your hand?
You have to level it.
I think the compass is an inanimate object. It wouldn't really think about it.
That's what the tool... Yeah, but that's what the tool does, right? That is what the tool does. That's its function. You say it creates a horizontal. That is the tool.
And Barry, you're a flat earther.
Has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. The function of the tool. Same as
that's not a shape, you dumb bastard.
It does actually.
Or a sextant. All right. They're just tools that measure things. Have nothing to do with the surface that you're standing on.
Not the ground, right? There it is. Not the ground.
It's the same like Toon.
So your builder's level, do you think that if you put your builder's level on a ball, the builder's level is unable to create a horizontal reference?
No, you're not.
A tennis ball, put on your builder's plumb line or whatever.
Sorry?
It'll fall off.
No, you put it on top.
You could tell Ed never did a day's work in his life with his hands.
That would be a basketball. We can reference a basketball. So, yeah.
Why do you guys have so much trouble using basketball as an analogy for the spherical Earth? You seem to think
that. What's spherical Earth? It's not spherical. It doesn't matter. It's the tool we're talking about. We're talking about the tool being sentient, that it knows the surface it's on and it stops working on certain surfaces. So if you put a builder's level on anything that isn't already horizontal, it doesn't work. That's your logic.
Spirit level, basketball falls off.
What are you talking about? You're being ridiculous as you are with sort of the computer.
No, you're assuming a sphere. You're being ridiculous.
Yeah, but your builder's level.
Hey, Buck, how come when Nathan asked the question yesterday, you said yes and
yeah, he's got plenty of time, Gakushi. He's got plenty of time.
It's because you don't.
You're going to tell me that the builder's level is sentient, are you, Neil? Is the builder's level sentient?
To answer Gakushi's question.
You've got plenty of time. You've got plenty of time. You'll have all day. He'll mute me in a bit.
It's because Toon's a liar. Toon had to lie about it being the surface of Earth.
This is horizontal, is sentient.
Toon was proven a liar yesterday by Buck. It was really funny.
Sentient builders levels. Is that what you're using?
You suggest
they won't answer you, Other Bear.
Yeah, they can't answer. It's what they're trying to say is that a tool.
You win, Other Bear. You win going one today.
You win.
Go in peace.
Isn't possible to work on a surface that they say it doesn't work on. But the tool
Go in
change.
peace, Other Bear. You won. We conceded.
God will strike it down with lightning if you try and apply a plumb bob to a curved surface.
I was just trying to find, some clear definition that we could then apply it to Nathan's claim that the Earth is measured flat. If it was measured flat, then the tool would be exclusive to that and that only.
Well, I like how Nathan's hanging his hat on this thing with me and Toon where he refused to even look at the diagram. And so he thinks he's found some gotcha.
Is that Buck? Is that the asshole?
You can sense blood in the water.
Neil, you're allowed to speak? Neil, how about we look at
stuttering already, Buck?
Hey, Buck, how about you fuck off?
Oh, what a tough guy, Neil. You don't want to talk? You don't want to talk science?
I don't talk to scumbags.
Surface level. So Toon needed to lie about his elevation angles being anything to do with the surface, because at the point he's using them, Earth's a flat surface. You wanted to tie it to the begging the question tangent plane of a ball Earth.
Toon's claim was, as Prop 18 in Euclid's theorem. Hang on.
He said it's got nothing to do with the surface, end quote.
Incorrect.
I quoted him verbatim. It has nothing to do with the surface, specifically referencing elevation angles. My response, elevation directly ties it to the surface. We went back and forth with him explicitly declaring it had nothing to do with the surface at least half a dozen times, Buck.
Did he say it was tangent?
You then came along and said it's attached to the surface at a point. End quote, Buck.
Surface.
Yeah, so the surface then, the one that Toon was lying about.
Did he say it was tangent to the surface?
Said it had nothing to do with the surface, end quote.
Yet he said it was tangent to the surface.
No, he said it had nothing to do with the surface. He said it about 6 times.
It was tangent to the surface.
No, said... Oh, so you've got to lie about what he said? Keep lying. We'll just trim out what he said, put it next to you now lying for him to defend and cover up his lie. He explicitly made it clear. Nothing to do with the surface.
Your little followers don't...
Right, we're going to have a little segue away from Toon's lie. I don't mind doing this for the entire show, Buck. Cover up his lie a bit more. Lie for him some more, Buck.
Well... Theorem 18, right?
No, he said nothing to do with the surface. End quote. That's verbatim.
But did you even look at the diagram?
I heard him. And now I'm quoting him. Nothing to do with the surface.
Did you look at the diagram?
I know what an elevation angle is. It's tied to the surface with the word elevation. Toon lied about it, and you confirmed with the word surface and point how much this had to do with the surface, Buck.
Random quote from a diagram.
That's correct.
You didn't even look.
That's correct. Yeah, we now got Buck now trying to obfuscate Toon's egregious lies he got caught out in. Thanks, Buck, by the way. Thank you for conceding. It's got everything to do with the surface. When you said it joined the surface at a point, end quote you.
Correct.
Yeah, so Toon's definitely a liar. Nothing to do with the surface, end quote, McToon. Thank you again, Buck, for confirming unequivocally that Toon was caught red-handed, lying like an egregious scumbag deceiver con man. That's what Toon is. I'm so grateful you confirmed what a massive lie that he repeatedly said. It's got nothing to do with the surface. Egregious lies that Toon told, confirmed by Buck here today. Well done.
Do you think that he meant it?
I think I've got a verbatim quote from him.
There's no play in it.
There's no what wiggle room in Toon's lies. I mean, you can try and wiggle around them. It'll be very amusing.
Okay,
when do you think that this format for your shorts?
Oh, we got somebody cooking. How many cooks will Toon need to cover up this lie? I mean, let's just get to the nitty-gritty of why he needed to lie. He measured Earth flat with an elevation angle. And when that got pointed out to him, suddenly it had nothing to do with the surface, end quote him.
As soon as I respond, Nathan will interrupt. Watch.
Suck on my bollocks. I'll do exactly as I like. What this pissy pants little girl, Buck, will do in an attempt to cover up McToon's lie after he's already confirmed it. I've got no more use for you, Buck. Now moan like a little girl. Maybe call to the moderators to have me muted. Go ahead.
The reason he won't let me reply and he constantly interrupts is...
So is this an appeal to format fallacy? Meanwhile, Toon got caught lying about elevation angles having nothing to do with the surface. They're specifically a measurement of the surface flat. Toon didn't like how flat he measured Earth, so he lied about it, and Buck confirmed it when he specifically described how it joined the surface at a point, end quote Buck. It's nice to have it reconfirmed at the beginning of the show. Yeah, Toon's a liar. He got caught twice lying. Said all the measurements are in the vertical as well. And I went, what about azimuth? And he went, well, that's in the horizontal. And then I got accused of misinterpreting the verbatim quote he got caught lying with immediately. Toon got caught out in 2 lies, specific lies. One, Buck assisted in confirming. The other, I caught him out with his pants down immediately after the sentence was concluded. Toon's just a liar.
That you agree with me.
I don't agree with anything you've got to say, Buck. You're a scumbag. You saying it joins a tangent point is begging the question. But you still need it to be attached to your globe Earth that we're not measuring on a plane.
So Nathan Oakley has confirmed that elevation angles can be measured from a curved surface because he agrees with me.
I just said that's a begging the question fallacy when you assume tangential planes have got a ball dangling below them. That's an affirming the consequent fallacy as well if you actually formatted it. Not that you have.
It's no more
refracted curvature confirmed that was it.
You're a moron.
Refracted curvature confirmed that for you, Buck.
But Elderbear, what I'm assuming is that it tells us nothing about the surface below it. What you're assuming
knows that already.
It means it's flat. It's you that's affirming the consequence, my friend.
Refracted curvature confirmed that that's the case, that you can get an angle from a curve with a sextant. He's already said that.
Brian's logic. Brian's logic
That's a lie.
as well.
He came on yesterday and told you that's a lie.
That's an angle measuring device. Yeah, he did confirm that was a lie. Edibed just likes lying. They're all liars. Toon's a confirmed liar. Buck helped confirm him as a liar. Edibear's a liar. But this is no new news.
You can measure an elevation angle from a curved surface.
No, you can't. It's 2 straight lines. Sextants measure angles, not curves.
Neil, did you hear that?
Neil, save me! You can't measure an elevation angle with a tool that measures straight lines.
Would you like to bet? I do it all the time.
Well, then Earth's measured flat for an elevation angle.
Incorrect.
Yeah, that's what you're measuring.
Incorrect.
Yeah, well, it's got a horizon mirror. It's measuring an angle. It gives you it in a degree. It's definitely 2 straight lines.
Euclid's proposition 18 is wrong.
Oh, no, those words didn't cross my lips.
Well, if you say that you can't measure an elevation angle from a curved surface, you're saying that it's wrong.
No, you can measure to a curve. That would be a tangent. If you measure to an assumed ball, that's begging the question.
His information is wrong, too.
If you say that it's not proof that it's a ball.
Well, it's begging the question. If you're measuring a plane with a tangent to a ball, then that's assuming there's a ball below the tangent you are measuring as a planar surface. So you're measuring a level surface for the angle in this angle measuring device, then assuming there's a ball dangling below the plane you are actually measuring.
Are you assuming that it's flat?
No, you're assuming there's a ball dangling below a plane you're measuring with this tool. The purpose of measuring with this tool is to establish a baseline for an angle. So the baseline you are measuring with the tool is now, according to you, assumed to be a tangent plane, tangent to a ball you've assumed dangles below the plane you're measuring.
Incorrect.
That's just what you're assuming. Okay, well, we haven't got a ball. There's no ball. That's incorrect. Okay, no tangent plane to be assumed, to be begged the question of and affirm the consequent of. Okay, yeah, we do just measure planes, though.
Correct.
Yeah, so Earth's measured flat. It's measured as a plane.
That's incorrect. You're assuming that it's flat.
Well, that's what a plane is. If you're measuring for an angle with a 0 degree baseline, then ipso facto, that's what's required for that to be the measurement.
And that's the issue you avoid, like the plague.
Someone just
the plane is the surface. It could very easily be the tangent plane to the surface.
So you can assume that there's a ball, and it's definitely measured when you've got a ball dangling below a plane that you're measuring. Yeah, again, same thing. You rinsed and repeated the same begging the question fallacy, where you assume, yes, I'm measuring a tangential plane, then it's allowed to be a measurement because then you've got a ball assumed to dangle below it. But the only bit being measured in that scenario isn't the ball bit, it's the claim you're making, not reality, a tangential plane. Yeah, because you need a plane. That's the only reason that's part of the measurement. The ball, in this scenario, is not being measured. It's simply assumed to dangle below the bit you are measuring.
You're measuring the tangent plane.
Yeah, I know. You say we're measuring a plane. That's because Earth's flat. But there's no ball dangling below that plane we're measuring. And the only measurement bit is the plane bit, not the ball bit. You're assuming that.
You're just assuming there's no ball.
Oh, my bad. I should automatically assume there is a ball, aka begging the fuckwit question, you dumbass.
Here's the difference. I'm saying that we don't know what the contour of the surface is.
Yeah, we do. We measure it as a plane. Dumbass. You just only accept that measurement when you've got a ball dangling below it. Then the plane, tangential, is okay. We can measure it then, right? When there's a ball assumed to dangle below. But oh, my bad, I'm begging the question of the not automatically being a ball. How foolish of me.
Or a flat surface.
Yeah, that's what we're measuring. A plane. You assume it's tangential.
Didn't you just say we don't know the contours of the plane? I'm pretty sure it's all been surveyed from surface level.
Yeah, we've surveyed. This dickhead doesn't have the slightest idea. Earth's been surveyed. We do know the contours to the millimetre accuracy. It's all been measured flat with linear distances. Meanwhile, this assumption that we can measure a plane, but only if we say a ball's dangling below it, then it's allowed to be a measurement.
Correct. We can
Doesn't
measure
that survey show the Earth is not flat?
Surface or a flat
then.
The ability to measure one doesn't tell us anything about the surface below us.
It does. It tells us it's a freaking plane because that's what it is when you measure it. It doesn't tell us anything when we measure this plane. Yeah, it tells us it's a plane. It's just you can only accept that plane if you say it's tangential. When you say it's tangential, then it's all good. We can measure it. It's a plane because it's tangential to a ball, I'm assuming. Then it's all cushy.
No, the people you said measured the Earth flat.
Yeah, they do. They measure it as a plane, which is accepted by Buck only if we assume that there's a ball dangling below this plane we measure. He says, that's assuming his outcome, is tangential.
Nathan's claim, and he's going to interrupt me.
Tool isn't sentient.
There you go. Nathan's claim is that because
that was not me. That was Edabed interrupting you, not me.
It's flat.
That was
My claim is we can measure an elevation
I didn't interrupt you. That was
on a curved surface or a flat surface.
That was Edabed interrupting you, not me. Meanwhile, you will only accept the plane we measure if it's tangential to a ball. Well, when I say there's no ball
said it could be measured from a flat surface or a curved surface.
That's right. When you say tangential, that's because ipso facto you require this plane. It's part of the angle, the elevation angle, the one Toon lied about.
Surface.
So yeah, that's why Toon had to lie about it, because it's directly tied to the surface.
I will repeat. You can measure an elevation angle from a curved surface or a flat surface.
Not from. You can only get it to. Yeah? You're not measuring a plane if it's coming from a curve, because the angle's not an angle if it's coming from a curve. But you can measure tangential to a ball. You assume dangles below the plane you're now accepting again. It's the third time I've gone through this. You will only accept the plane we are measuring if that plane we are measuring is said by you to be tangential at a single point touching the ball dangling below it. So we've got an assumption of a ball dangling below that we're definitely not measuring, because we're measuring a line that you call a tangent now. But it's just a planar measurement. That's all it is.
You can measure an elevation angle from a flat surface?
That's what it is. It's a measurement from the surface, flat, for the angle to be 0.
You can measure an elevation angle from a flat surface.
Yeah, I heard you the first time and I responded.
Oh,
That's exactly what we're doing, you dumbass deaf man.
Neil, stop interrupting.
But yeah, we measure Earth as a flat surface. It's 0 for the baseline of the angle.
Except that if it's a tangent.
Unless you assume that you've got a ball dangling below. Then you're okay with this flat Earth measurement of a plane for 0 degrees for the angle. No, we're just measuring 0 degrees for the angle. There's no ball assumed to be dangling. The ball's got nothing to do with an angle. You understand that, right?
Absolutely. It has nothing to do with it.
Right, that's because we're not measuring a ball. We're just measuring an angle off a flat plane for the 0 degree baseline. It'll meet the GP of the star you're measuring if you're using this in any practical way.
Which is not the Earth's surface.
Like I said,
GP's not surface. Do you not know what GP stands for? Whoever that was.
Ground position. What?
So, sorry, can I just have that twat that interrupted us concede that he's a wanker and wrong? I heard somebody say nothing to do with the surface. Then I heard Buck confirm ground position.
Nothing to do with
just
the
want to
elevation.
chastise a fuckwit, Buck. We'll get back to you shortly. Fuckwit. Did you hear what we just said when you said nothing to do with the ground? A bit like Toon and his lie that we're exposing in this process. Ground position, dumb fuck.
The planar surface has nothing to do with the ground.
It's measuring for a ground position, you fucking retard.
Yep, but the plane doesn't have...
Sit down and shut the fuck up, you stupid retard. You stupid man.
That's all you got?
What, that you say it's nothing to do with the ground? It's measuring a fucking ground position, you dumb fuck.
Yeah.
But not the plane.
Sit down and shut the fuck up. And we'll get back to Buck. Yeah? Yeah, your lie is the same as Toon's lie, by the way. That's what Toon did. Said it was nothing to do with the ground. Yeah, here we are talking about ground positions right on cue. Right at the point that Toon used the exact same lie. Toon had to lie like this dumb fuck that's just been chastised by me did. That's the same lie Toon used, mate. Not the ground.
So when does the...
Absolutely the ground, you dumb fuck.
When does the level use the...
Dumb fuck! We're talking about ground positions. Now sit down and shut your dumb ass up.
Oakley, when does the...
Why is this man still talking? Why am I hearing from the dumbest fuck in the room? I was talking to Buck.
Oakley.
Dumb fuck, you said it weren't the ground.
Welfare.
Sit down and shut up.
The sextant.
Oh, now we've got Edinburgh. Oh, got Edinburgh
doesn't have a horizontal baseline. Remember, refracted curvature told you that. Doesn't have a horizontal baseline. Therefore, it could be on any surface and measure that angle.
Oh, you got a little cock working for you, Buck. It's all got a bit limp. Bless.
Doesn't have a horizontal baseline.
We'll get back to the ground positions when Edinburgh runs out of steam. Cooking for you, Buck.
It's not an elevation angle, refracted curvature.
Yeah, it is. It's an elevation angle. Specifically detailed with Toon when he said it's got nothing to do with the ground. A bit like this dumb fuck retard that just piped up. It's got everything to do with the ground. We're measuring for ground positions, end quote, Buck, 3 minutes ago.
I go with refracted curvature.
Are you going to interrupt this incessantly? Because I'll just shut you up if you can't cope.
Yeah,
so I'm just reminding you that your tool...
Just going to remind me, I'll shut you up if you can't shut yourself up. I'll give you one more try.
Elder Bear said it perfectly. The horizontal baseline is independent of the contour of the surface below it.
We're measuring for ground position.
Have one.
We're measuring for ground position.
Have a horizontal
We're measuring
baseline.
for ground positions.
It doesn't have one. Refracted
well, ground position. Yeah, it does.
There's no horizontal baseline.
Sorry, got ground position at the end of this distance that we're measuring for. Cat got your tongue, retards? Measuring for ground positions.
We're not measuring for ground position.
Absolutely, that is unequivocally the only reason we're doing this, to find the ground position of the star so we can draw out a radii, so we can have a circle, so we can have a line of position, so we can find out where the fuck we are. It's the only reason for doing it.
Why would I could get...
Stuttery! We're measuring for a ground position, you lying pieces of shit.
And have nothing to do with the ground position.
No, that's all. The only reason we're doing this. That's the purpose of it.
I just told you. If I want to get my latitude, I can measure my elevation angle to Polaris, and that tells me my latitude. And
well, that's got a ground position. It's an elevation angle, meaning it's from the ground.
That you didn't answer my question.
There was no question. There was a statement of flat Earth measurement fact for Polaris. You're measuring an elevation angle with a 0 degree baseline for positions on the ground. That's what this is used in. It's navigation. When we use that system, we use it for coordinate data on the ground, you dumbass.
No, the angle...
Yeah, it forms part of a coordinate on the ground.
Measured from the...
So are you guys denying the coordinate system for ground positions now?
No, it's not the ground, it's your eye.
Really? So coordinates aren't for the ground?
Through the sextant.
So coordinates aren't for the ground?
Horizontal baseline.
Cuck dealing for this for you, is he there?
It has no horizontal baseline.
Buckuk!
There's two straight lines.
Buckuk! You talked about latitude, Buckuk.
Two straight lines.
Buckuk! I'll have to shut you up, Edinburgh, if you can't cope with me talking to Bev. If you can't cope with me talking to Bev, I'll just have to shut you up.
It's not an
Somebody's done it for me. Thank you very much. Buckuk! You talked about part of a system that forms data about ground positions, specifically coordinate data. That's what you just gave me. Are you going to deny again and lie about it not having anything to do with the ground when we talk about specifically coordinate data acquisition? It's everything to do with the ground, you piece of shit liar. That got your tongue, Buck?
I don't know what you're asking, Nathan.
You talked about the latitude system. I said this forms coordinate data. On the ground, you're denying it has anything to do with.
Ask me a question. If you want me to answer, ask me a cogent question.
No, I'm going to just call you out as a liar. You suggested this coordinate data for latitude information doesn't have anything to do with the ground. Yeah, it does.
That's a lie.
Okay, so you're saying it does have something to do with the ground then? Don't know what to do you stuttery little twat? Meanwhile, we measure Earth flat with elevation angles. That's the purpose of doing it. For navigation, for coordinate data, on the ground, for ground positions, on the ground. That's why we're doing it. While this stuttery twat figures out which way he's got to go next.
When I measure my elevation angle to Polaris to determine my latitude, I don't care about the ground position of Polaris. End of.
Well, you care about your coordinate data. That's what you're using it for. It's for ground positional information.
I just told you, when I want to get my latitude, I measure an elevation angle to Polaris, and I don't care about the GP. It plays no role in that measurement.
You're measuring Earth flat with an elevation angle. That's what an altitude angle is.
Why are you changing the subject? You said you
specifically said you're measuring an elevation angle. That's an altitude angle to Polaris. That's what you said.
You are wrong.
No, that's what you said. You said you're measuring an elevation angle. That's a flat Earth measurement. I'm going to read out a few definitions. The altitude angle, sometimes described as the elevation angle, describes how high the sun appears in the sky. The angle is measured between an imaginary line and the observer and the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. This is specifically detailing what an altitude angle, otherwise known as elevation angle, in your case to Polaris, is. It requires a flat plane to be standing on.
That definition
just me or is Buck muting me? Do you need taking charge of Buck? I'm reading out the definition of what you said you measured with Polaris. I'm going to read out the definitions to you, Buck. Do you want to stick your fingers in the ears or do you want to listen? You're measuring Earth flat with this measurement.
The definition has nothing to do with what we were talking about. You said
It's got everything to do with what we're talking about, which is Earth being measured flat from the surface. Toon lied about it being anything to do with the surface. You're now attempting to use the same lie.
I never said anything about the surface. I said something.
No, I did. I said elevation angles are specifically tied to the surface. Toon lied about it. You attached it tangentially at a single point to the surface, proving Toon's a liar. Now I'm defining what this angle measurement is. It's an altitude angle measurement. I've defined it once, and you chat skank through the top of it because you're scared of these flat Earth measurements.
The GP has everything to do with the elevation angle. End quote. Nathan Oakley.
Yeah, it does. That's what we're measuring for if we're doing celestial navigation with it. The angle itself requires a flat Earth be measured.
When I measure an elevation angle to Polaris, what role does the GP play in that?
The ground position. Well, if you're using it as an area of equal elevation, if you're using it as a navigation star, then it'll form a line of position with a derived flat Earth radial value when you minus the angle from 90 times it by 60 to give you a distance to the GP, in this case Polaris, if you're using it for navigation. So it's specifically tied to it if you're using it as a navigation star. Meanwhile, the process of acquisition requires, quote, you measure an elevation angle. That is a prerequisite requirement to measure Earth flat.
I am not using my measurement of an elevation angle to do cell nav.
Don't care. The angle itself is a flat Earth measurement.
I am not using my elevation.
I don't care if you shove it up your ass. The measurement, regardless of what you use it for, is a flat Earth only measurement.
The question is, why do I...
The question is, why are you using flat Earth measurements?
Angle. You keep dodging this claim.
Not dodging anything. I'll read out a few more definitions when you stop spurging.
Everything to do with the elevation angle.
Yeah, because it's a flat Earth measurement.
What does that have to do with the GP?
Well, ground position, if you're using it for navigation, would be acquired if you used it in this manner for that process. I've already answered that 10 seconds ago. Why male models? You're not capable of listening? You're just spurging through the top of my answers, or what?
No, you don't answer the question.
I did. You said, what's the GP got to do with the measurement of the altitude angle of Polaris? Well, if it's used as a navigation star, you can find your line of position with it. That's why.
Why do I need the GP?
You don't. Meanwhile, the angle itself is a flat Earth only measurement.
Quote, The GP has everything to do with the elevation angle.
Yeah, it does. If you're using it as a navigation star, you find your position with it. That's ground position. Yes, I've explained it 3 times.
Matter. Why does the GP matter if I'm not doing navigation?
Well, don't have to use it for that. But the angle itself, if you're measuring an elevation angle, you require a flat earth for that measurement.
The GP does not matter.
Not the GP, the elevation angle. You're going to obfuscate to GP now. GP's a flat earth prerequisite also. Anything to do with GP requires earth be flat.
Wrong.
No, GP's on a flat plane.
GP has everything to do with the elevation.
Diagrammatically exampled on screen now. Definitely going to have a straight line to a 90 when you're talking about GP. Earth is flat for GP.
In your quote, the GP has everything to do with the elevation angle.
Yeah, it does. It's got everything to do with an elevation angle.
Well, and I don't care what the GP is.
Well, I don't care if you don't care. You don't have to acquire a GP. You can just frivolously measure an elevation angle for no reason. I mean, if you want your latitude, I'm assuming you're doing it for positional information on the ground. But some wankers, fart-sniffing dweebs, go out and measure elevation angles for no reason at all. Now, I don't give a shit what you do with an elevation angle. It's directly tied to the Earth, in spite of McToon's lying about it, not having anything to do with the Earth, and you confirming that it's attached at a single point when it's a tangential plane. Meanwhile, the angle itself is required to be measured from a flat plane. That's what the angle is, regardless of what you do with it.
Let me re-quote you.
Oh my God.
The GP has
everything to do with the elevation angle. Yeah, it does.
Oh, so it does now. So when I'm...
Yeah, GP's at the bottom of the star you're measuring with an elevation angle specifically. When doing celestial navigation. I've gone through this with you 4 times. Meanwhile, Earth's measured flat for a GP, Earth's measured flat for an elevation angle. That's why Toon had to lie about it.
Only when you do cell nav, right?
What, the Earth's measured flat? No, if you're measuring an elevation angle for anything ever, it's a flat Earth prerequisite.
That's not the question. The question is...
Well, no, what you don't like this question about what a flat Earth elevation angle is. I'll define it for you, Buck.
Let me quote
measurement of elevation angle.
The GP has
elevation angle is the angle between the horizontal plane and the line of sight measured in the vertical plane. So in order to measure this angle, we need a horizontal plane to measure it with.
The GP has everything to do with measuring an elevation angle.
You've lost. Earth's measured flat with these elevation angles. That's why Toon had to lie about it.
No, as Elderbear stated...
Right, as your cook stated...
Reference is independent.
So you cook... No, they're not independent. I've just defined it. You just chat skank through it. You're too scared of the definitions.
I chat skank through nothing.
Well, do you want to hear the definition again without you chat skanking through it? Because you did. The altitude.
If you read the proper
There you go again. Chat skanking through it. You're scared of this because it's a flat Earth measurement. Same reason Toon had to lie about it is the reason you're chat skanking through the definitions. Because you're scared of them. Toon said he didn't want to hear semantics of definitions because he was scared of them too. You know what I hear?
You guys know that this quote he's giving, the owner of the...
I'm trying to give you a citation. You just don't want to hear it.
Because he knew Nathan was misusing it.
No, he said that it had nothing to do with the surface.
Should I post?
Yeah, he said it had nothing to do with the surface. He's a liar.
How it's being used?
I've got definitions. I've got 20 of them.
Would you guys like me to post that email?
What, when I'm trying to read out a definition, you're asking if I want you to post something? No, I mean, I don't mind if it takes you all day. It's very telling that you're scared of these definitions, the same way Toon didn't want them read out. Okay, angle of elevation. The angle of elevation is the angle between the horizontal line and the line of sight which is above the horizontal line. It is formed when an observer... Spurgeon straight through the top of it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why they have to lie, because they're terrified of the definitions. This angle measurement is only capable of being measured with respect to a flat Earth. It's a flat Earth measurement, and he's asking me a question in the middle of me defining how flat Earth is measured for this angle. Scared. Terrified. Very telling. Hope you keep it up through the live show.
Good morning.
Sea level.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm slightly horrified to find out that the, what would you call it, aftermath of Toon getting caught lying has resulted in splurge into today's show. So throughout the pre-show, if you're wondering why we're a little bit late live, there's been a defence party mobilised to defend against Toon's lies about not needing the surface and it having nothing to do with the surface when measuring Earth flat with an altitude angle. And we got to the point where we almost had definitions read out, but unfortunately, PR consultant Buck Sodbusters come to overcome the fact that he was the one that exposed Toon's lies when suggesting elevation angles have nothing to do with the surface. Now we're at the point where we might get some definitions read out for Buck Sodbuster defending Toon's lies and defending his honour about how elevation angles have got nothing to do with the surface. We'll try and continue and see how well we get on. So, measurement of elevation angle. The elevation angle is the angle between the horizontal plane and the line of sight measured in the vertical plane. That's from Radar Tutorial. I got about 19 more.
In addition to that, also Buck had mentioned or had quoted Euclid's citation, Theorem 18. This is from Euclid's Elements, Book 1, Proposition 18. It is proven that an angle opposite the greater side of any triangle is always greater. In simpler terms, in any triangle, the longest side is opposite the largest angle, and the shortest side is opposite the smallest angle. What do you need to create a triangle?
Well, if you're measuring it with respect to Earth's surface, then you need a flat baseline for the angle to form the zero. If that's
Thank you. And here's what drives me crazy with these guys. You can't just randomly say, well, according to Euclid's Theorem 18, I'm correct. No. Euclid is crystal clear on this. Triangulation. Angles, triangles, and a required flat baseline. That's it. Just thank you, Nathan.
Yeah, exactly as Earth's measured, with things like elevation angles, measuring with respect to the horizontal plane of Earth's surface. Now, obviously, if you need to assume that there's a bald angling below a tangential plane, then it's accepted that we are measuring this plane. If we say it's tangential and assume there's a bald angling below that's not being measured, then it's an acceptable plane meeting a ball at a single point. Nothing to do with the actual measurement other than a single point of assumed tangency with a ball assumed to be in existence that's not being measured. Meanwhile, that was where Buck exposed Toon's lie when Toon explicitly said this elevation angle had nothing to do with the surface, because at the point that he's utilising it, it's a flat Earth measurement from a horizontal plane, and Toon didn't want it to be, so he lied and said it had nothing to do with the surface. I don't know if Buck was not paying attention to his guru, but he came in and said it was specifically attached at a point, scuppering Toon's lies and exposing Toon as a liar for a live audience assisted by Buck. But now we're into whether or not we need GPs, that's ground positions, when measuring Polaris with an elevation angle off a flat plane.
Yeah, but
that simultaneously got denied.
Curvature made it clear that that's not the case with the sextant angle, that it doesn't have a horizontal baseline. He made it quite clear.
Yeah,
the sextant does not measure an elevation.
Yeah, it does. If you're
measuring,
measuring,
it doesn't have a horizontal baseline. Neither of the straight angles are horizontal; they're both sloping. I mean, refractive curvature said that clearly.
Okay, so if you're measuring from a dinghy with a sextant, a mariner's sextant, then you have a zero baseline. If you are on the surface level, that's sea level, in a rubber ducky lifeboat preserver, whatever you want to be on the sea level, that's when you get a horizontal baseline without any correction needed. Now, if you are above the sea level with a mariner's sextant, then there's two things that must occur. The first thing that must occur is you must measure Earth flat for your elevation off sea level. So you can correct the parallel eye level to the surface level, because where your eye level meets the ground, meeting the sky in the distance for a reference, that's the horizon used in the horizon mirror, then you correct to the surface level from parallel eye level. That's how you correct if you're not on the sea level using this tool. But what you've just said is incorrect. You can measure a 0 degree baseline. The angle
with the sextant is an uncorrected angle. There is no horizontal until you add some correction. So it is possible to measure an angle from any surface that doesn't have a horizontal baseline then.
Well, unless you're in a dinghy.
Well, that's not the case he was talking about.
So unless you're in a dinghy, then you are categorically wrong.
Clear. There's no horizontal baseline.
Unless you're in a dinghy, third time.
You said you had to correct.
Yeah, and if you're in a dinghy, you don't have to correct.
Baseline. So when you measure with a sextant, you haven't got a horizontal baseline. Which means in that
case...
Yeah,
you have. In a dinghy. It's 4 times I've said it, ladies and gentlemen. It seems at the point that these scumbags lose, they just start chat skanking through the top of you, and you repeat the thing that makes them lose, and they just ignore it. Dinghy.
It's what refracted curvature says.
So rather than acknowledging what I'm addressing you with, I'm refuting your garbage that's wrong. You're ignoring me. Last chance.
Why, if
Either you acknowledge that you do absolutely unequivocally have a horizontal baseline from a dinghy, either you acknowledge that, or say it's wrong. Say, no, when on the sea level using this tool, you still need to correct. You can tell me I'm wrong and suggest you still need to make a correction from a dinghy to make you correct.
And in that case, there's no horizontal baseline with the angle, is there?
Yes, there's only a horizontal if you're in a dinghy.
You said that you have to correct that angle to get a horizontal. So the angle...
I'm going to say it one more time, right? If you ignore me, I'm going to remove you from the discussion, Elder Bear. If you are in a dinghy...
Or in me.
If you are in a dinghy, you do not need to make a correction. I've said that 6 times.
Refracted curvature wasn't talking about being in a dinghy.
I'm going to remove him from the discussion. No, you're not going to take part. No, I'm not going to do this. Round and round in circles. He's wrong. If you make a correction, it is because you are above the sea level. If you are at sea level, there's no correction to make. The correction he's talking about is a, quote, height of eye correction. So you need the height of your eye off sea level. So you've got to measure a flat Earth perpendicular to your parallel eye level. I've said all this. Now I'm going to reiterate it, because scumbags just ignore it, like it doesn't challenge their assertion that you don't have a 0 degree baseline when in a dinghy. Yes, you do, and there's no correction to make if you're already on the sea level. He's just wrong, wants to ignore it and say, well, but refracted curvature said, what? So if you can readdress refracted, it means I didn't point out that there is absolutely a 0 degree baseline when you're measuring from the dinghy. Now, I understand that Bev wannabe Elder Bev doesn't like addressing when he's wrong. He'd rather just plough on and address someone else that isn't addressing his garbage waffle. A bit like McToon playing his cowardly soundboard when he gets demonstrably proven wrong with his suggestion that elevation angles have got nothing to do with the surface. End quote McToon. Until Buck comes along and says, oh yeah, it's touching the surface at a point. Yeah, definitely got something to do with the surface then, unless you're lying about it in that very moment, because like Toon and everybody else who alleges to have gone to Antarctica, they all measured Earth flat there. Now there's like this is the entourage we get as a consequence of Toon lying and making himself look bad. If you want to check out yesterday's show, Jen Panda have an absolute mental breakdown as soon as Toon got exposed as a liar. Suddenly we weren't allowed to talk about it anymore. And we've been talking about it too often because we've been talking about it for about 30 minutes. And it was just too much to cope with. Well, some guru that's a fart-sniffing dweeb lying about not needing the surface when measuring surface level angles. Yeah, that's just the standard fare for ballers like Toon. You all lie. That's what you do if you're a baller. Lie. Or ignore the contrapositive position being put to you. In this case, Earth's measured flat with a sextant. If you're in a dinghy, no corrections being made. If you're not in a dinghy and you're 100 feet up, you still got to measure 100 feet perpendicular to sea level, and you need a principal axiomatic parallel eye level to correct to the surface level, which is his point. Oh, well, because it has to be corrected. Well, it doesn't have to be corrected, 8th time, if you're in a dinghy on the sea level. Meanwhile...
Thank you for the confirmation. Thank you. You did have to correct the angle because the angle didn't have a horizontal baseline.
Not in a dinghy! In a dinghy, you don't make the correction.
We're not talking about a dinghy.
I am, you dumb fuck! Yeah, because you're not talking about what I've responded with.
You also...
Stuttery! Yeah, I know you're not saying it. I am, because it refutes what you say. So when I refute what you say, you tell me you're not saying it.
Refuted yourself.
What, with a horizontal baseline acquired from a dinghy?
You have to make a correction because there isn't a horizontal
Not in a dinghy,
baseline. You said that.
I said, do you have to make a correction in a dinghy?
You said if you're 100 feet above the surface...
And if you're not, do you have to make a correction if you're not?
Does not have a horizontal baseline.
So he's immediately appealed to the if you're 100 foot bit. Because he can't cope with the, well, what if you're not 100 foot? What correction do you make if you're at 0?
It's not an angle.
No, you're measuring an elevation angle with this tool. That's what it's for.
Hear about. Is refracted curvature wrong?
So it's back to this. I'll only appeal to somebody who said you do need to make a correction. What if you're in a dinghy and you're not at 100 foot?
Confirmed it. We're not talking about a dinghy. We're talking.
I am. So again, second attempt. I am specifically. Oh, he's scared of the dinghy. I see. Why are you scared of talking about this measurement from a dinghy?
Nathan, he's lying. Refracted curvature straight in the mouth.
Not talking about that.
He keeps coming back with the same lie.
Yeah, I want to know why you're scared of the measurement taking place in a dinghy. That's the most likely place that you'd use this tool.
The timestamp and
the most likely time that you'd use this tool, that's a mariner sextant, is if you lost your GPS because your boat had sunk and you were in a lifeboat. Then there's a very good chance that you might actually need this tool to live. Now, if you're on the sea level, you absolutely unequivocally wouldn't make a correction because you're already at the sea level. That's a fact. Now, Edebear is saying, I'm not talking about this, and I want to know why you're scared of talking about it. I've made it explicitly clear we are talking about being in a dinghy, Edebear. Why are you scared of it?
We're talking about the possibility of measuring an angle that doesn't require a horizontal baseline. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, in a dinghy, you don't require to correct to the horizontal baseline. You've already got it. You're already at sea level.
Horizontal baseline?
Yeah, sea level.
You just admitted it.
Stuttery, yeah, we're in a dinghy at sea level, no correction. We're just measuring a horizontal baseline.
The ball, you wouldn't know, would you? It would still measure that angle.
What, the horizontal baseline being 0?
You'd still be able to measure that angle.
Yeah, 0 being the horizontal baseline from sea level.
It does exist in reality.
Yeah, a flat earth measurement does exist in reality. We're measuring a horizontal baseline from a dinghy. If the boat sunk that we're on, which had the complicated GPS, we wouldn't really need a sextant unless we were in a dinghy.
Is the sextant sent?
Do you think there's 100-foot lifeboats, you dumbass? Is that what you think? There's 100-foot lifeboats?
If you did...
Wanker, do you think the boats that are saving your life when the real ship sinks are 100-foot tall?
If you did...
Stuttery, we're measuring a 0 from sea level in a dinghy.
3,000
no correction.
Mountain,
it's just a flat earth measurement.
You're not on the surface of water, are you?
Yeah, when we're in a dinghy.
There is no elevation change. You see, you can measure it.
So if there's no elevation change, then we don't need to make a correction for height of eye.
You claim everywhere on that circle is the same elevation.
What's that circle
and yet
called?
You could be 10,000 feet up on a mountain and measure the same angle. So
are you scared of this dinghy? Why are you scared of it? Gone from being 100 foot up to now we're on a mountain. Man, you want to get as far away from this dinghy as possible, don't you?
On a mountain and measure.
No, we're in the sea. We're on a dinghy. We're measuring Earth flat with a sextant.
Above this, we're talking about what refracted curvature was.
No, I'm talking about a dinghy, and I want to know why you're scared of it. I mean, I'll tell the audience why he's going to rumpus this.
On the ground that doesn't have a horizontal baseline.
No, it does. If you're in the sea, you use the sea level when you use the mariner sextant. You measure an elevation angle, 0 degrees from the sea level is a flat Earth measurement measured with this tool.
On your shoulders, not mine.
So do you think lifeboats are 100 foot tall?
Do you think sextants are sentient?
I don't think they're sentient. I think they're angle measuring devices, and we measure a 0 degree for an elevation angle from the surface level. And if we're above the surface level, we correct to the surface level or sea level when we're lost at sea.
Saying it's, are you set?
Stuttering. Do you want to get a grip? You sound like you're having the same problem as Jen Pandra had yesterday.
If the surface is horizontal.
Yeah, the surface is horizontal. That's right.
Are you saying that a sextant is impossible to measure an angle with a sextant unless the surface is already horizontal?
No, I mean, you can make angle corrections to the surface level if you're above it, but then you'd need to measure Earth flat for the altitude above the surface level. You're just spurging through the top of my answer.
It doesn't have a horizontal.
You're just spurging through the top of my answer.
Line, does it?
You're just spurging through the top of my answer.
It does not have a horizontal.
Yeah, it seems like Elder Bear's just decided to continue
you
spurging through the top of my answer. No, I'll just remove Bev from the discussion. Sorry, Elder Bev, you just can't seem to contain yourself. It's because you've lost really badly. Yeah, we're scared of the dinghy. The dinghy, we don't have to make any corrections. We just measure Earth flat from 0 when we're at the surface level. Then we've already got a surface level. So this tool needs no correction. Therefore, we can measure Earth flat unimpeded. No corrections needed. I mean, we'd still be measuring Earth flat if we corrected to the surface level, if we were above the surface level, and we measured our altitude from surface level perpendicular to sea level in this instance. Then the 100-foot measurement would be a measurement from sea level perpendicular to it for altitude, and we'd still require to correct that eye level parallel with the surface level we measured our height from to it. But most of the time, if we're in a dinghy, it's because the boat's gone down. Like, nobody, generally speaking, going up a freaking crow's nest and using a mariner's sextant. People have got much more advanced flat earth systems of Cartesian plotting and flat earth measurements of coordinates to plot in their computers that they've got on the boats. Those computers give them their positional information without needing a sextant. But there's a good chance if you go overboard or the main ship sinks, then you might actually need to do this and use a mariner's sextant to acquire a horizontal baseline for an angle to the star's ground position. The one that Buck was scared of, don't know why. Meanwhile, elevation angles require Earth be measured flat, as defined earlier for Buck. Well, wasn't that fun? Did you guys in G+ want to reflect on yesterday, did you say, Neil?
Yesterday was hilarious.
Well, yesterday was just a joke. It was just a collection of liars demonstrating how liars act. One confirming the other. And today you got Edit Bear coming in and lying. Refracted came in yesterday and straightened them out, and he's still using the same thing.
Yeah, if you say a lie often enough, it can be accepted as true. I mean, there was another liar exposed. Will Duffy came in claiming he'd got receipts for invitations I'd declined because he'd gone on air and told people I'd declined an invitation I never had. And then he suggested he'd got receipts for it and presented his chat comments from a live stream chat as evidence that he'd invited me and I'd declined. There was no decline. There was no acknowledgement. There was him leaving a apparently official invitation in a live stream chat. He claimed they were, quote, receipts. Now, I didn't even look at them because I know my position with regards to Duffy. Up until that point, I had no communication with him. So when he says, Nathan declined, I'm like, I've had no communication with this man. A position I stood behind then and now, because it's still a fact. That communication was only to expose Will Duffy as the lying scumbag we already knew he was. And when he confirmed, no, there's been no email communication between Nathan and I, he confirmed that several times. Then he suggested that I'd still decline the invitation because apparently he was talking in a live stream chat about it. Therefore, I'd declined. There was still no decline. There was still no communication. There was no acknowledgement. But apparently, an official invitation to go halfway around the frickin' world is to drop a comment in a live stream chat and then say that those are the receipts. Receipts? For what? You being in a live stream chat? Yeah, that's Duffy's standard. When he lied about me declining some invitation he never gave me. But we squared that away with Duffy the liar. He ran away, by the way, once this actually got presented. His so-called receipts that were exposed. And not by me, because I, like I say, didn't even care, didn't even look, knew he was a liar anyway. But someone else in the live stream chat yesterday in the Discord server went in and went, is this for real? These are your comments from a live stream chat. Did you invite any of the other participants by way of live stream chat comment box? So very quickly, Duffy was exposed, humiliated as the con man grifting liar that he was. Now, after it happened, I thought, should I trim this out? But I thought, why? Everybody already knows that Will Duffy's a con man, grifter, fraud, liar. And that was exactly how he behaved when he suggested that, no, Nathan's definitely declined some offer. Oh, really? Well, there's been no email exchange, as he confirmed. And the suggestion that I'd been offered anything came by way of a screen grab of Duffy communicating with a live stream chat audience. I kid you not, that was his standard. Yeah, the kind of standard you'd expect a lying fraud grifter like we already knew Duffy was to present, suggesting their receipts. That was his official invite. Yeah? So I stand by what I'd already been maintaining. No invitation ever came my direction, as confirmed yesterday by Will Duffy. I don't consider a live stream chat comment from this conning, fraud, grifter Duffy an official invite. You'll excuse me if I don't accept that as a reasonable standard. But that's what we already knew, right? We already knew that Will Duffy's a liar. McToon has to lie about his measurements coming from Earth when he's measuring Earth flat with them. Suddenly they've got nothing to do with Earth until Buck comes along and is all keen to say how it's attached at a single point to Earth's surface, end quote, Buck. So yeah, there was quite a few liars that were exposed. Gem Panda had an absolute complete meltdown the moment Toon was exposed as a liar. Couldn't cope with it, couldn't tolerate it. Spurged out completely. Muted me 35 times to try and contain the situation. And today it's spilled over in today. Got a whole entourage of people coming to defend Toon, it would seem. That don't want him to be perceived to be a liar. Now, this is very telling. The moment Toon's definitely caught in a lie, twice, there's a whole backup of posse coming to defend his lies. Amazing. Telling. Meanwhile, Earth's measured flat. Over the course of the last 2 weeks in all these different Discord servers, we haven't had a single globe measurement presented to us. And do you know why? It's because there aren't any. I mean, it might seem fun to argue about whether or not elevation, that means from the ground, angles have nothing to do with the ground. Anything at all, Toon, you liar? Yeah, they do. They're from the ground specifically. Might have to read out a couple of citations, but in a back and forth with a liar, you're told that they're not important. When you're trying to suggest that it's nothing to do with the ground you've just measured flat, yeah, you can be damn sure they're nothing to do with the ground. Right up until you attach a ball to that tangential plane we definitely measured. It just had nothing to do with the begging the question ball that's dangling below. But that's where we're at. The only way ballers can cope with flat earth measurements is to accept them with an assumption of a ball dangling below them. Oh yeah, it's fine for us to measure this flat plane. If I say there's a tangential ball dangling below that we're not measuring, so long as I can assume there's a ball involved with this flat plane measurement, then I'll call it a measurement. It's just a tangential plane to a ball we're not measuring. Then it's okay to be the surface at a single point. Unless you're Toon and you need to lie about it. Then it's, quote, nothing to do with the surface until Buck comes along and proves how big a liar he is. Very amusing, very telling. But long may it continue.
I always would have thought, like in this arena, you've got people who claim to live on a globe. You need a measurement for that. We're stating how it's measured flat from sea level. But you never hear them explaining this curvature measurement. They always seem to be using like horizontal and, vertical and plumb and heights above sea level from sea level. I would have expected they'd be sort of laying some curvature measurements down on the table for us all to see, but that never happens, does it?
Precisely. So moments earlier, we had Elder Bev telling us, well, what if we're 100 feet? What, above the sea level? Well, we'd need to measure sea level, we'd need to measure our height perpendicular to it. Every single suggestion of any measurement ever with respect to Earth's surface requires, by axiomatic prerequisite, Earth be measured flat. No different in the argument that we've just had. Why we're even having an argument? If we're making a correction, we're making it with a measurement from a flat Earth in feet. So we're measuring our flat Earth in feet to make corrections for Mariner's sextants. Yeah, that's right. What if we use a different type of sextant that doesn't need a correction, like a bubble sextant? Oh, well then it's axiomatically required that the surface be parallel with it. Yeah, that's because Earth's flat to be parallel with a bubble sextant that needs no correction. But all of these tools just measure a flat Earth. There's no exception. Same goes for azimuth, which is what they measured in Antarctica. Now again, Duffy tried to obfuscate with his shitty receipts that got torn to shreds and did not want to talk about the flat Earth measurements. I asked him, I think I counted 10 times, when are we going to get to the flat Earth measurements of azimuth and altitude? And Will Duffy did not want to talk about them. It was the last thing he wanted to do. I mean, he spent quite a considerable time with his fraudulent bullshit receipts lying about invitations that were declined, suggesting he was discrediting me, an individual, a man, aka at the man, when the man's asking him about his measurements that are of a flat Earth. That would be azimuth and altitude. But again, con artists don't want to talk about their con. They want to talk about the person discrediting them. In this case, me. And whether or not I've declined an invitation like that has any bearing on the flat Earth measurements he was asked about 10 times. But as I say, this con man really exposed himself. Duffy did not want to talk about the measurements at all, did he? No, Nathan, he didn't want to talk about. That's right. It's an outrage. You'd think it'd be the first thing he wanted to talk about, but he didn't. Definitely didn't want to be talking about the measurements. Only wanted to talk about another man. That was his only focus. And the minute he was exposed as a fraud, con man, using shitty receipts, what did he do? Well, he ran away. Now, he'd been asked repeatedly when he was going to get to the measurements. He ran away before ever talking about them. These are the facts, by the way. These are your gurus. These are the same people that when they're conning you, the moron ball believers, they're telling you they've got frickin' science. I ask when we get to the measurements 10 times. Does not want to know. Never got to them. That was the reality. We never got to the measurements. What was it that Toon said to me when he called me up from Antarctica? He tried to deflect to measurements, end quote, Toon. Yeah, that's right. And when we got to the measurements, that's altitude angles, Toon said they had nothing to do with the surface. Well, I mean, okay, if you want to suggest they've got nothing to do with the globe's surface. On the one hand, I'm being told the measurements have got nothing to do with the surface, end quote. On the bald dickhead Dumbo side, they're telling you they're experiments. Like, the standard's completely skewed. For me, oh, no, these flat Earth measurements, nothing to do with the surface. Oh, you're a bald believer. These are experiments. They're just con men liars. And you, if you're taken in by this, are just dumb. That's the reality. It exposes the stupidity level of the ballers who watch these clowns. Because when they get exposed for lying, they can't cope. Like I say, Gem Panda had a complete mental breakdown over this. Didn't like the fact that Toon had been easily shown to be a liar. Said we were talking about it too much. Just kept going on and on about it, he said. I'm like, yeah, I will. It was telling that he was trying to shut the conversation down with his mute button. Yeah, furthermore, we had Toon, later on in the day, get exposed again. Exactly the same way. So someone went and dug out, Len provided it, a comment that someone had gone and got for me with a clip from Toon's own mouth where he was describing altitude angles with their surface prerequisite. So I play it and Toon accused me of playing randomly diced up clips. Pure projection. He'd been pressing the buttons on his soundboard, playing out me say do not swear and asking about gas pressure and calling Ruhif a numpty. That's what he's playing. Unrelated clips through the top of the discussion. Cowardice. And when it comes to the exposure of his literal defiance of his own position that altitude angles, quote, have got nothing to do with the surface, end quote. Suddenly when he's saying, well, you can measure a altitude from the surface of a flat Earth. His own words were muted by the server. Very, very, very telling. We are currently in a position where we scare the living daylights out of our so-called former opponents. Now, they're not. They all use flat Earth measurements. Toon's no exception. In this case, elevation angles. The ones he wanted to lie about having nothing to do with his globe surface. Which they haven't. They're just a measurement from a flat plane. That's all an altitude angle is. It's easy to define. It's a prerequisite flat Earth planar measurement that you could also measure with a sextant from a dinghy. Earth being planar to acquire this surface level altitude angle. And if it's not directly tied to the surface, you can be damn sure that you'll be measuring Earth perpendicular to a plane to get your altitude, to measure the surface level for your correction. Everything ever detailed for Earth and its measurements is and can only be flat. It always was, it always will be. At the start of the show, we were asked by Dawn, do people go out, measure Earth's planar surface, and then infer sphericity from it? And I said, yeah. You go out, you measure distances, you measure heights off a flat plane, and then you put them through calculations that suggest sphericity. That's how it works. Measure Earth flat, use the planar measurements, like altitude angles, unless you're lying about them, like McToon, and saying they've got nothing to do with the surface, and then you apply them by conversion and calculation to an inference of a ball that you think you're standing inside on a plane called the equatorial plane. Now, nobody's actually standing inside a ball. We also had that confirmed by McToon. Very handy. Meanwhile, nobody's measuring inside a ball. We're definitely measuring with respect to Earth's planar surface, derivable into concepts like the equatorial plane.
Exactly. That's all they do. Use angle measuring tools and argue about angles and baselines. I mean, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic listening to these clowns now. It's absolute jokes.
It's going to get harder for them. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth, Nathan. It's only going to get more difficult for them. And here's a practical application. In about an hour and a half, I'm going fishing on a lake that is at an elevation of 1,180 feet above what? Sea level. Once I get on that lake, we use fish finders, depth locators. I can go to the far north end of the lake, look at my depth finder, and it'll give me that depth reading in feet from the far north end to the far south end, far east end of the lake, far west end of the lake. It never changes from that flat lake surface. So 10 feet at the north is 10 feet at the south, regardless of how big or small that lake is. Now, I'm fishing on a lake that is at an elevation of 1,180 above sea level, and I'm measuring distances down underwater that are also linear and giving me depth. It's going to get worse for them the more people start to realize the practical application of the Earth being measured flat is true. That's it.
Yep. Well, sea level, that's geometric proof. It's the physical Earth we use for all measurements. You want geometric proof? Go and look at sea level. Go and look at a map. That's what's been used for the mapping all elevation profiles. Geometric proof of all measurements.
That's true. And on those depth maps, every lake in Minnesota has got one. You get a graphics of underwater depths, and right on that map it gives you the elevation above sea level.
Yep. Yeah. Holy Glover is like Sodbuster. He's just at an angle measuring wizard. I mean, that's all he does. He measures angles all the time. I don't know why he does that. He doesn't measure any curvature, by the way. He just likes measuring angles. I'm talking about measuring angles from theodolites and sextants from the horizontal plane. So that's what we're talking about as well.
Yeah, there's only a couple of options open to them moving forward. Either deny their measurements, like Toon did, like lie. Oh, right, well, this measurement from the surface of an angle, specifically detailed as being with respect to the surface, that's elevation angle, has nothing to do with the surface. Now, the consequences of that are, well, then you've got no surface measurements then. If you're going to be relying on these and they've got nothing to do with the surface, end quote, Toon, then they've got nothing to do with your globe surface. Now, in reality, they've been utilising flat Earth measurements to suggest their globe surface for 10 straight years minimum. In fact, in reality, the derivation of heliocentrism itself comes from flat Earth measurements. So if you want to look at it in that way, they've been using flat Earth measurements for about 500 years to suggest that they've got sphericity. Now, nothing much has changed in that regard. It's all old news. But when you're exposed, that's to say, well, what you're using in this suggestion of an experiment is measurements of the surface level for elevation, that means from the surface, angle, that's two straight lines, and azimuth, that's horizontal degrees from north. Those are the only measurements that were taken. Now, you could suggest that they went and weighed things, which would also be a downward vector perpendicular to a plane of reference also. But that's it. That's what they did there. Lots and lots of flat Earth measurements. So as time progresses, what do we get? I wasn't measuring the surface. Nothing to do with it. Well, it's nothing to do with your globe surface then. Oh no, I was measuring it flat, but it's nothing to do with the flatness of the surface. It's tangential to a ball we're not measuring. Right, well, so you accept that we're measuring a plane then? Yeah, but only if I assume that there's a ball dangling below. Right, no, that's got nothing to do with the actual measurement of Earth, though. We're measuring Earth planar. Now, it can't just be accepted planar if there's a ball dangling below that we're not measuring, because we're not measuring that. We're just measuring the plane. And it's not conditional on it being tangential. It's conditional on it being a plane. Meanwhile, they're just measurements. This isn't a logical consistency that now seemingly needs to be unpacked, whether there's a conditional plane involved. It's not a conditional statement, it's a measurement. Of what? A plane. It's how it's always been measured, and there's no way to infer or derive sphericity unless you measure Earth planar. That's how it's been created. The ball was created by these measurements. Planar.
That's correct. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to turn it into a logic. It's not logic. It's just a measurement.
Yeah. If you can turn a measurement that's prerequisite for the globe extrapolation into a logical consistency, you can utilize it flat and then decry it. Well, this only works after I've measured it flat, converted it into a ball, and then referenced the positional information with respect to the ball I've converted from the flat measurements. Therefore, it's not flat. You're like, no, your calculation violates the base measurements. Therefore, you either invalidate the base measurements, which is what Toon did when he lied. Well, it's got nothing to do with Earth. Okay, it's got nothing to do with your globe then. Oh, well, it has, but only if I accept a single point's tangential to the ball we're not measuring.
Crazy days.
And that's,
we're talking about Earth measurement, but it's got nothing to do with the Earth. Crazy.
Nothing to do with their ball Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy to listen to. The things they're coming out with now, they must realise that all they're talking about is angles and elevation angles. If we're using theodolites, the sextants, they're just measuring angles all day long. That's all they're doing, and that's all they're talking about.
Nathan, you just said it has nothing to do with their ball Earth. That's what it is right there.
Yes.
And they keep saying it has nothing to do with the Earth because they know damn well it has everything to do with the Earth being flat.
Yeah, that's the current best attack that has formed. I will measure Earth flat with this altitude angle. If you point out that it's a flat Earth altitude angle, then I'll say it's got nothing to do with the Earth. Okay, well, no, it just has nothing to do with your globe Earth until you calculate the globe Earth into existence or beg the question thereof. But in reality, it's the only way we measure Earth. So, because it's got nothing to do with globe Earth, you're going to say that an altitude, meaning from surface, angle, meaning two straight lines, has nothing to do with the Earth. It's got everything to do with it. It's like, at that point, why are you measuring it then? Oh, because I'm later going to convert it and say that it's got everything to do with my sphere Earth that this is going to be proving. And you're like, this is sad. So, you'll measure Earth flat, and then say it's got nothing to do with the Earth until you've converted it to sphericity, and then it's proving that Earth's a sphere. This is pathetic. But it's just
and you can't quote Euclid and then not quote Euclid. That's idiocy. That was in regards to Buck when he started, big wording and big naming and name dropping. And, well, Euclid's, book 1, theorem 18. Well, if you're going to quote it. But just don't say it and then go on with your own garbage nonsense. Quote him. What did it say? It's angles. It's triangulation. It's triangles. It's baseline. It's amazing the hoops that these guys will jump through to try to make people believe that we live on a ball. It doesn't happen.
In practical reality, we use sea level. That's what's used. It's part of the Earth. It's level. It's got an average level for all navigation and mapping. Yeah, that's what's used. You can quote what you want, or you can read any definition out you want. You can quote Euclid as much as you like, but we do have something in physical reality called mean sea level, which is the starting point for all measurements on Earth, and it's level.
Amen.
Yeah, I was going to say one deck, is that mean sea level or global sea level? It's quite confusing.
Global sea level is rising.
Yeah, that was the other Toon lie. So he suggested that the altitude angles were globe altitude angles. You're like, okay, so you're content to suggest that these flat Earth prerequisite angles being measured are in favour of a globe conformation. Like, so when you call them global angles, which is again a contradiction in terms, then you're content to use them. Like, this seems really crazy. The minute they're flat Earth by prerequisite, which they absolutely are, they'll be denied as having nothing to do with the Earth. But simultaneously, you're content to label them as something global. Okay. So they're only accepted as making measurements relevant to Earth's surface if you call them global. How pathetic.
Well, if they did try to do that, then they would, and you were to make the first assumption that there were two ships on the sea with their tangential plane that has the ball below, you would have to have two tangential planes that were not parallel at all in different locations on their ball. That doesn't make any sense either. So the angle from one, if they're going to take an angle measurement from a point, which is ridiculous, well, if you had two people out there 100 miles apart or 1,000 miles apart, they'd get two completely different angle measurements. It doesn't make any sense in reality. None.
What I heard yesterday was religion. I heard Toon chanting a religion. I got global elevation angles.
Yeah, they just talk absolute nonsense. That's all they can do at this point in time. Either they use the flat Earth elevation angle measurements and try and tell you that it's from a globe and it's got something to do with a globe. They have to say it. It's a religious belief, like you say. Crazy. Crazy days.
Yeah, very peaceful position to rest in.
Gem Panda, bloody hell. He was having a heart attack. That guy.
That was hysterical to listen to yesterday. That was hysterical.
Yeah, they all need their special treatment, and when they're not receiving it, they moan and mute. Like, literally, projection was the name of the game yesterday. At one point, I was put on mute so I could be told off for muting people.
You can't make it up, can you? Can't make it up.
No, you can't.
I had to jump off for a bit. We'd have to leave that. Where was we in there?
Yeah, where are we today? It seems very quiet.
It's going to be quiet everywhere we go. Right, all of the servers will turn into like the old Flat Earth Debate Discord server, where people come in but are too terrified to actually speak because they know what will happen.
Last week you were in I can't remember which Discord server it was, but it was a full-on attack against you, Nathan. And as soon as you closed your show out, and I mean they were just everybody heard them. They just one after the other, 5 cucks, and they just loading up trying to just attack you. And as soon as you closed the show out, a number of us stuck around. I just wanted to hear the conversation. And you would have thought they would have said, well, what an idiot. He doesn't realize, and then provide some of those globe Earth measurements. They didn't. They just went dead silent. I mean, dead silent. And they were still in the room, and they weren't even talking amongst themselves.
That is pretty telling. Because usually there's always you hear a talk after we leave. Wow.
Right. Yeah, it was dead silent. Flat Earth Cafe was in there, and Steve was in there, and a couple of us were in there. I just wanted to hear what they had to say. They had nothing to say. Nothing.
Rob Knox just made me laugh on one of the shows. He was shouting, "Go on, guys, we're doing well. We're doing well."
Giving him a little pep talk.
Yeah, like that. He was doing a really good job on you. Okay, now. I don't know how many of your servers you've been in now the last few weeks, but every time you're going in, you're just knocking them out one by one or 5 by 5. So I just got to shoot off 1 second.
We're going to see it more and more. People becoming more and more despondent as they get tuckered out. Takes a lot of energy.
Well,
Good.
That's a good thing. Then that'll give them time to, ponder and reflect and change their position, because they only have two choices right now. They can stay with their heliocentric nonsense, as you so eloquently stated, Nathan, their one world religion, or they can come to the truth of measurements. There's only two positions, one or the other. So it's not, like I said, it's a battle, it's a warfare, but at some point one side is going to win and the other side is either going to come over to the good side, come over to the light, come over to the truth, or they're going to, harden their case for their own, and it's just going to have the same result. They're not going to go anywhere with it. They just sit in the corner and go, Copernicus, 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 Eratosthenes, Eratosthenes, Eratosthenes. Oh, okay. Doesn't mean anything. Like Tesla said, Einstein just wanders around with mathematical equation after mathematical equation after mathematical equation, and none of it has anything to do with reality. Tesla, the inventor, not the car.
Yeah, so it will get calmer over time. Like I say, the mental effort involved in actually disputing the axiomatic facts of measurement will become more and more difficult for our opponents. And the servers, it won't matter where we go. Like, it won't just be because we're in a server that we're regularly in, and there'll be less and less excuses. It's like, the more often we come into these random servers and end up sitting in silence because there's nothing more to say. Earth was always and will always be measured flat. For everyone, always. All you can do in light of that is either lie or relinquish the measurements. That's it. Those are your only choices. If you relinquish the measurements, you've got nothing. If you lie, you're going to be exposed pretty quickly. So, people will choose to sit silent. I mean, there is a third option, which is ignore the awful truth.
Sure, then they're stuck in a land of perpetual nothingness. And they're just lost then, just lost. Lost in outer space, I guess. You could cue the Lost in Space 1960 television theme music.
So are you saying we're giving them a warning? Warning! Warning!
Yeah.
Is that
all you will Robinsons out there, take heed.
Yes, Nathan, that's the robot from Lost in Space from the 60s.
Yeah. The first talking toaster we ever got to see on television was the robot.
What about Dr. Schmidt? You ninny?
They're Brits.
He was, and he had a strong sense of the vernacular, boy. He ran some alliterations and some big over the top words. It was beautiful. I mean, the scripting was great on that show.
Are you still debating?
Not really. The debate's over because Earth's measured flat, Dawn.
And as a globe, sometimes by some people, right?
You derive the globe from the flat Earth measurements. I explained this to you earlier.
No, you admitted some people measure it and then say Earth's a globe.
Yeah, they measure it flat and then say it's a globe.
No, they measure a drop from horizontal curvature.
Horizontal.
You remember this from 2016, don't you?
Yeah, the horizontal distance was a measurement of miles, though, wasn't it, Dawn?
What do you mean horizontal distance?
So if you imagine...
They're measuring drop from a hypothetical horizontal line.
That's measured. We got the distances on maps and shit, Dawn. They were measurements of distances. When you say 31 miles...
Who cares about distance? I'm talking about drop from horizontal.
Okay, so what you're saying is there's no curve. Yeah, we know. There's no drop.
No, I'm saying that's a curve, it's a curve. Why would you lie about my position?
Same reason you're lying about mine when you suggested that I said that they measure and then the globe comes into effect. I don't lie. Okay.
You're saying Earth's measured flat, and I'm saying, yes, but it's also measured as a globe, isn't it, by the globers?
No. If you say that
you're saying no now. You said yes earlier.
No, I said they measure Earth and then say Earth's curved after measuring it flat for the curve. That's drop over distance. So the distance is measured.
Then I'm going to make an accusation against your side then now to reflect that. You've measured Earth as a globe and then declared it's flat.
Okay, what were the globe measurements, Dawn?
Globe measurements, well, you can Google the exact size. I can't remember off the top of my head. 8 inches per mile squared, right? Drop from horizontal.
Yes, you have to understand the difference between a measurement and a calculation, too. The Earth is measured flat. The globe is calculated.
So,
I think it's the other way around. I think it was measured as a globe, and then you said it was flat on top of that.
So 8 inches per mile squared. So we need flat mile distances then.
No, you just need a hypothetical horizontal.
Hypothetical?
From a point. Yeah.
So we measure the miles, Dawn.
You can.
And no one lives in a hypothetical reality. We live in reality, not hypothetical reality.
Said the flat earther, yeah.
Well, that's reality. Where do you live?
Well, it's pretty subjective, it seems.
No, it's not subjective at all. It's absolute. It's empirical.
You think it's flat, and I think it's.
Can we get back to the 8 inches per mile squared?
What about it? It's some people measure Earth as a globe, and then you measured it, you found the curve, and then you pretended it was flat for 10 years.
No. It's measured flat, then they calculated it into a globe.
I'm willing to give you the subjective nature that you measured it as flat, and we measured it as a globe. I'm willing to give you that. If you want.
All right. Then it's over. It's over then.
To us. No, it means it's subjective and still up for debate, doesn't it?
Not at all. You can't take an empirical truth and make it subjective. You can't take an empirical truth and make it subjective. It's not.
Well, I'm saying the empirical truth is Earth was measured as a globe, and you're saying the empirical truth is Earth was measured flat. So we've disagreed about the empirical truth, hence the debate.
No, there's no debate. You have to know the difference between a calculation and a measurement.
If there's no debate, maybe you could let someone else speak.
Go ahead.
He's trying to explain to you that the miles are measured.
Measurements. I'm sorry, Nathan. Go ahead.
Well, the miles are measured.
Flat measurements. Go ahead.
Yeah, the miles, Dawn. Those are measured.
Some people measure drop from horizontal, and they think it's a globe while they're measuring it.
Yeah, so you need the horizontal distance to be measured first to derive that drop width. So first we measure Earth flat with horizontal distance, Dawn.
Well, we don't know it's horizontal until we've finished the test to check what Earth is.
So if we don't know it's horizontal, then how are you going to derive curve from it?
We can also do the horizontal that goes across the top of the Earth, but then we're going to check if Earth deviates from that underneath.
So we're measuring across the top of the Earth horizontal.
If you want, yeah. Depends what you want to do. That doesn't mean it's measured as flat, does it? That just means you've made a hypothetical horizontal on what could be flat, but we don't know yet till you check if it deviates.
Well, people have measured it, and they put those numbers on maps, and that's pretty good evidence for me.
Yeah, but those same people say Earth's a globe.
No, not the people who put maps together. They don't.
Yes, they do. Of course they do. I mean, have you got maps? How old is your map?
All maps are measured flat, but give me one that isn't.
By globers, yeah.
By everyone.
Projected onto a bit of paper so you can carry it around, but they think it's a
Victory Royale! Sweet. I think that's the first time I got Victory Royale on a live stream. Awesome.
What?
Victory Royale whilst live.
What is that?
It's me winning at Fortnite.
So this is your show. You play Fortnite.
That's correct.
Have a fake debate.
Well, there wasn't much conversation going on until you talked, Dawn. And what we've got with you is horizontal distance that needs to be measured for you to derive drop in the vertical from it. So Earth's measured flat for horizontal distance. Meanwhile, Victory Royale!
And then we find out. Then we find out it's a globe, which is the measurement in full of a globe.
Yeah, the measurement of a globe is a derivative value that's also from a flat Earth measurement. So to get your radius, you measure at the minimum elevation angle of Polaris. That's what gives you radius, yeah?
I'm talking about drop from horizontal being measured.
Yeah, so to derive drop from the horizontal, you need the horizontal distance to be measured. So I understand this is painful, Don, but the drop
comes... It's not painful for me, bro. I like to watch you go from a nice normal man who believe normal things to being a liar playing Fortnite in a fake debate. That's what I've watched you do over 10 years. So it's not painful for me. It's painful for you.
Dawn, you win. Well done. You won.
Because your life, you've changed into this angry goblin over 10 years slowly from an audio guy, a nice audio man.
Okay.
And now you're an ugly goblin that lies about Earth. So that's painful for you, not for me.
Okay, let's break this down. So when you use horizontal distance measurements, because you've got 8 inches per mile.
Yes.
I'm an angry lying goblin. No, you've used flat Earth measurements of horizontal distance for the per mile.
Yeah, and then we found out it's a globe. So it's not a flat Earth measurement. It was a horizontal on an Earth. Then we found out Earth dropped from it. Hence globe, hence measuring.
No, every single measured mile is flat, Dawn. Yes. It's all horizontal miles, all of them.
For 2,500 years.
I mean, if you're too dumb to understand this, that's fine. I'll just concede.
I'm not dumb. I'm a normal person, who believes normal things. You're the one saying weird alternative Earth theories while playing Fortnite. So you're the dumb one.
Alternative Earth. No, I'm using your measurements.
Video games, and
let me know when you're done, and I'll respond to you, Don.
I challenge people on the actual issue. So I'm saying Earth was measured as a globe. You know this. So stop saying it's measured flat, full stop. Say it's measured as flat and a globe, and that's why we're debating.
So you're telling me I must tell you that it's measured flat and a globe?
Yeah, be honest to your audience instead of dishonest.
Fine. If you can tell me where,
get more clicks.
I'll concede if you tell me
more
where.
Clicks.
Okay, gotcha. I'll tell you yes if you can show me the globe measurement that doesn't rely on a flat Earth measurement of distance. In this case, for a distance that you're going to square.
Drop from horizontal doesn't rely on flat Earth measurement. It relies on a horizontal on Earth.
So it doesn't rely on a horizontal. It relies on a horizontal.
Yeah, so that's not a flat Earth measurement, is it? Until you finish the measurement and check that Earth didn't deviate from it.
Yeah, deviate from the measured flat miles.
No, they're not flat. That's an pre-assumption, right? So you need to test that and then show us.
Do you want to know why they have to be, or are you just going to tell me they're not?
I don't believe they have to be, because you're still at the point of checking. So you haven't shown us how it definitely is flat, not deviated.
I'll tell you once you finish talking. I'll tell you.
I don't want to hear the fake rhetoric. I'd rather debate you on the actual points.
Then you win, because you don't want to hear it.
I've already won, 10 years ago when you started to be dishonest about Earth for money.
Good win. Now I'm getting ad-hommed because he can't accept that he doesn't want to hear the reality of his use of linear distances in flat Earth miles that are measured.
Did 10 years ago. Earth is measured as a globe as well as measured as flat, hence the debate.
And what was that measurement? You've just given it me in a flat Earth prerequisite linear distance with a drop derived from it. That's flat Earth measurement.
No, it's not a flat Earth measurement. You keep saying that, but it's actually just a horizontal on Earth. So we don't know Earth's flat until you finish the test.
Well, once we measured it as a horizontal, then we measured it as a horizontal, then we knew it was horizontal because we measured it as a horizontal.
Convincing.
Rumpusing me. This is Dawn's tactic now. We're in the middle of a reasonable discussion until Dawn just talks straight through the top of me and calls me a goblin. You used to be nice, Dawn. Now you've become a monster that just talks through people when you're wrong.
Yeah, that won't work because it's not true for me. You need to do a gaslight that's true.
So the distance is measured 4 miles, and it has to be flat. You said you didn't want to hear it. The reason it has to be flat is to derive drop, that's verticality. Axiomatically, the distance can only be horizontal, or you can't derive drop from it. Drop is axiomatically tied at the hip to the horizontal distance. To describe
I agree, but that's not a flat...
Sorry, were you a monster? Is this you being a monster? You used to be a pleasant boy, flying your drones, being a dweeb. Now you've just turned into a monster that likes talking through people. What a monster.
I'm just as nice as...
Just a monster. You've turned into a monster, a goblin.
Lies to the camera.
I'm describing horizontal distance measurements.
Horizontal distance measurements are not a flat Earth measurement.
Yeah, they are. They're horizontal, and they're distance, and they're measured. Yes, they absolutely must be horizontal, or you couldn't derive a squared function drop from them.
You can have that on a globe.
No, you're deriving the drop from the horizontal. You are.
I'm claiming that, yeah.
Yeah, so you need the horizontal distance to be measured first.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so we've got a horizontal Earth measured for the distance.
It's not a flat Earth measurement until you've...
It is. It's a horizontal distance. Saying it's not, well, okay, well, then you can't derive drop from it.
Why not?
Because you haven't got a horizontal distance to derive axiomatic verticality in a drop from, unless the distance is horizontal. If it's not, then you need to tell me how much that drops and what are you going to derive that drop from, a different horizontal. No, we only have the 8 inches per mile. That means you need that per mile bit for the drop bit.
We're going to do it all the way around the world to prove our point, yes.
Yes, every single square inch of Earth's been measured flat with distances. That's right, Dawn.
Different moments we're going to find drop from horizontal all around Earth. Drop.
Yeah, curves. Everybody's surveyed curves. Earth's been surveyed with horizontal distances and the curves. We've measured it all, Dawn.
You call it horizontal distance, but you actually mean could be curved distance.
No. If it was could be curved, you'd need to describe how curved it was with, I don't know, a squared functionality. But then you'd need a value to square. And the value's the horizontal distance you're appealing to in miles.
It might be curved.
No, if it was... Second time, why male models? Second time. If it was curved, you'd need a value to describe the curve from. The curve is the drop. You're describing a rate, 8 inches per mile squared. That rate is a rate that gives you the drop to describe the curve. So to describe your suggestion of your curve, you rely on horizontal measured distance.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Earth's measured flat with horizontal distance. It's just a fact.
No, that's not called being measured flat. That's called the first step where we establish a horizontal on Earth.
So we're measuring Earth as a horizontal?
No, we're making a hypothetical horizontal.
No, we're measuring it. Surveys measure Earth in distances.
If Earth deviates.
No, they measure the distance, Dawn. Nobody's guesstimating. It's a measurement.
Yeah, you measure the distance, but then you...
Yeah, straight and horizontal, like on a map scale, Dawn.
Across out to the thing.
Yeah, out to the thing that's flat. Horizontal for the distance.
Yeah, well, you don't know it's flat until you show us.
Well, that's what the surveyors do when they measure it.
Why can't you show the evidence?
What, like on a map? Like the scale of a map being flat and measured by the Ordnance Survey? Earth's been measured every square inch. Flat.
Show the evidence.
Okay, I just did. Map scale. Surveyors. They surveyed every square inch, Dawn.
Show us. Show us.
I'll show you a map with a map scale.
Show us the evidence that Earth doesn't deviate from a horizontal.
Because we've measured it in linear miles.
Show us.
Yeah, map scale. I've told you 3 times, you're just ignoring me.
The evidence.
Is it just me? Or can anybody else hear me saying map scale? Or is Dawn just spurging out over this because he can't cope with it?
How does a map...
Let me appeal to anybody else, Discord. Can anybody else hear me saying map scale? Or is Dawn just completely ignoring me?
Why are you pretending maps prove Earth's flat?
This is Dawn coping.
Yeah, you're just coping, Dawn. When you say offer me the measurements...
maps prove Earth's flat?
Yeah, when you use them to say 8 inches per mile squared, you will be appealing to these maps for these distances you are using. Okay, let's flip this on its head and say, okay, Dawn, so you're saying that the distance you appeal to with 8 inches per mile squared isn't real then? The distance you're using?
No.
Oh, so it's real then? You're demanding that I prove the distance you are using for your squared inch formula from a mile that's measured. Now you're saying your mile you're appealing to for your 8 inches per mile you're using squared isn't real.
The distance and the hypothetical horizontal are 2 different things.
It's not hypothetical, they've measured it, Dawn.
No, the horizontal is hypothetical.
No, they've measured it, Dawn. You're relying on it being horizontal or you couldn't derive drop at a squared rate from it. Second time.
You're pretending that measuring things across Earth proves it's flat, and that's ridiculous logic.
That's exactly what it proves. If you measure across Earth as a horizontal distance, that's precisely what it proves.
So it's you that's saying it's flat. They say it's...
No, the maps say it's flat. You're using the distances on the maps, Dawn. You're using these distances. Okay, so you're saying you don't want to use 8 inches per mile squared anymore? You don't want these
2026.
You don't want
maps are projections of a globe. The map makers think it's a globe.
No, they're measuring distance.
On a globe.
No, flat. You can't have a linear distance derive squared functionality unless it's straight and linear as per all map scales and all measurements.
Why would you say that?
Because you're relying on it. You're squaring it, you dumbass. Do you think you can square it if it bends? Dumbass, do you think you can square something that's bending?
Nathan's
Stuttery, you're a retard. I'm done with you. You're just too stupid to understand this. You're squaring it. It has to be straight and linear, or you can't square it. Dumbass.
At least you've heard me out.
Well, I've heard that you've measured Earth flat for a mile distance that's measured and surveyed, axiomatically horizontal, for you to square it. Now you're saying, well, it could be curved. No, you couldn't square it. Dumbass.
That's 2 separate things, I told you, didn't I?
When you square the linear distance, it has to be a linear distance. It can't be curving, 4th time. Or you can't square it.
You don't square it.
Oh, so we don't do 8 inches per mile squared. Okay, so we're in the hard place. You're relinquishing your measurements then.
That's from the horizontal. That's not from a distance.
So it's from the horizontal we measure Earth in. Yeah, we measure Earth in the horizontal with linear distance. That's right. Earth's measured flat in the horizontal. Are we done? Has to be flat, has to be linear. You can't square it if it's not. It's not hypothetical. They've measured it. Surveying. Any deviation from that horizontal, that's drop, will be measured in the vertical, requiring the distance to be axiomatically measured flat, or you couldn't derive drop from it. Every square inch of the known territory has been measured flat for linear distances in all circumstances. Distances are linear. It
has to be. What do you mean it has to be?
I mean, that's how it's been measured, flat for horizontal distance.
So it doesn't have to be. You mean you think it's flat after checking some people's measurements?
No, all maps are flat. The scales are all flat because miles are linear and flat. That's how they are.
Down and said, globes
okay,
are
show me a curved scale. Go ahead. Which scale do you think curves? Take your time.
What were you going to say, fisherman? Just in case it's important.
Save me, fisherman. Save me from the linear distances.
Oh,
which map scale do you think is curved?
You're just going
Here. I'll help Don. Don, you have to understand the definition of a sphere or a ball or what you think you live on. The definition of a sphere is perpetual curvature from any 2 points located anywhere on that ball creates perpetual curvature. It doesn't matter. You pick 2 points on your ball. The point, the position, it's perpetual.
Sorry, what?
I don't know what Fisherman in a Box is doing, taking you to a ball. It's got nothing to do with the measurements that have been made. The distances are measured linear, flat, horizontal, because we've surveyed.
That's your assertion, yeah. That's your assertion, but it doesn't make any sense after what you explained.
Well, I'll explain it then. If it wasn't horizontal,
you couldn't
derive hills and measure deviations in the vertical from it. In order to have height differential, that's hills, valleys, mountains, then you need to describe those deviating from the horizontal miles that are measured in the vertical. These are two principles that are tied at the hip. If you're going to measure how high the mountain is, you need to know the flat distance to derive the height from. If you're going to know how low the valley is, you need the horizontal distance to describe the topographical deviation from. So the first principle is measuring, as you put it, the horizontal bit. Well, that's distance as per any map scale. They're all horizontal for the miles. Now, they have to be for not only vertical deviation, but azimuth. Directionality on maps is also horizontal. That's how we navigate with maps. As a plane, Earth has been measured so we can use those maps. The principles we've measured are distance in the horizontal and azimuth in the horizontal. The Earth measurements are flat, Dawn. Anybody got anything else to add? Fun though that was. Much more reasonable talk. I can't believe that Dawn's the most reasonable person we've talked to in the last 2 weeks. Unbelievable. Props to Dawn.
Good. Yeah, that was fun. Good fun, Nathan. And I got to go fishing on a lake that is flat at an elevation of 1,180 feet. So we'll catch you down the line. God bless y'all.
Anybody got any comments from G Plus or Discord? Feel free.
That was a good one by Fisherman. We'll catch you down the line. Very good.
Yeah, not bad. I didn't catch that. With that, though, I am going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Right, is it going to be a super quiet after show?
Did you miss that, Nathan?
I did. What did you say?
It was just a bit of sarcasm. It was saying there, the fact that you missed my super chat is proof that you declined Will Duffy's chat comment invitation to Antarctica.
Yeah, what you're saying is if I can miss a super chat, why would I be paying attention to the stupid live stream chat?
Yeah.
How about starting the show off with a song? I put in Master B, South is Down. It's a reggae tune addressing Robert's obsession with basketballs. Very good. Is that something I can play now?
Yeah. Go for it.
It's in Master B, you say?
Yep.
Is it above the link for today's show? Oh, I got it.
Hey there, Nathan. Do basketball exist? Yeah, you know they do, man. That means Earth's a ball. Hey, man, Nathan. Can you measure a basketball with a tailor's tape? That means Earth's a ball. Hey, man, Nathan. I use P waves and S waves on basketballs. And don't you know that means that the Earth a ball means Earth's a ball. Hold on. Hey, man, Nathan. Hold on. You don't know the geometry or that pi is 3.333. Hold on. Hey, man, Nathan. Bamba Clark. Hold on. Hey, man, Nathan. You know that you don't know that South is down. Oh, hold on. You know that you don't know that elevation angles, they be global. South is down, hold on. Oh, hold on. You know that you don't know the elevation angles, they be global. Hold on. You know that you don't know that South is down, hold on. Know that you don't know that South is down. Hold on. You know that you don't know the elevation angles, they be global.
That is good.
Cheers. I had a bit of fun playing around with that last night.
Very good. Right, I might round out the after show early, as there's very little conversation going on. Anybody got anything they want to ask from Discord? Now's your chance. If not, I'm going to round out.
The roll took it out.
I've got to be honest, I've got an enormous headache. I think I'm quite dehydrated. Nope. Right, in that case, that is going to be the end of the after show. All we're going to get in the after show is a song. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. But with that, I'll say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. Hopefully someone will spam a link to Worldwide Debate so you can join the fun in there. If you do have the financial means to support me via either the Buy Me a Coffee or PayPal links below this video, then please do so, as that is basically how we keep the lights on in this place. So please support me via one of those PayPal or coffee links. Another massive thank you to Discord G+. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Millimeter, it be accurately measured.
It's measured flat, direction up and down. Flat level we at, flight over ground. Descending from that breeze, heading in degrees. Horizontal, flat, EST. Now you know it's flat below ground. Measured flat.